Great illusion! Meghan unleashes on royal family. Put her father to the side. She certainly unleashed on the royal family in a brand new interview for an American magazine. In it, she says Prince Harry told her he'd lost his father after they moved to the state. Royal editor of the Daily Mirror, Russell Myers, says it's one of the most extraordinary pieces he's ever read, and he joins us now live from the UK. Russell, take it away, my friend. I mean, this has got more fantasy than Lord of the Rings, I think. I mean, my jaw has just been picked up off the floor and I read it about 8 hours ago, and thankfully I've read it so many times that you don't have to. Where do we start? We've got, a millionairess that was stunning in a $14 million mansion, bemoaning her life, talking about how she's, a savior to a young girls who made one day meet a real-life princess. She compares herself in an anecdote to Nelson Mandela, the freedom fighter. It just goes on and on and on. It's truly, truly extraordinary. They ask. Stunning photos. I'll give her that. We've had a look at some of the front pages in the UK, which are receiving this pretty well. The Sun reporting Meghan's interview has saddened Charles. It is safe to say it's gone down pretty well though, yeah. Course you can imagine like a lead balloon, I think is probably the more atmospheric description. However, I don't think Prince Charles would just be saddened. I think would be absolutely distraught. Meghan talks about how Harry has, in quotes, lost his father. Now she's the one who has decided to sort of put her father to the side. She's completely abandoned any relationship, for better or worse, with her own father. But Prince Charles actually got pretty good relationship with Harry. My understanding is he's offered an olive branch to them to come and stay. Harry's concerns about security could be LA if he did actually stay with Prince Charles at one of his houses. And since then this article has come out. I think that you can hear the sort of sighs from all over the country. They'll be coming from the royal family because once again we're talking about the noisy suffixes from across the pond. That's sad that's all playing out so publicly again. Wasn't their whole thing that they left because they wanted privacy? Yeah, again, you know the irony of this whole thing that they left to go and protect children's privacy. And yet the 6,400-word article is peppered with references to their children. Also talking about the fact that that all this folly of how they would be followed around the country, how their children would be hounded. This is absolutely ludicrous. This the Cambridge has managed perfectly well and certainly other royals do as well, and I just think they've created this whole monster to suit their own narrative, and the narrative is that they're paid millions and millions of dollars and she has a podcast to publicize, and that's basically the sum of its parts, I think. Royal reporter Natalie Oliveri discussed this. Nat, she's given some insight into Harry's relationship with Charles after they step back from royal life. Let's start there. Yes, very interesting piece here, this nearly 7,000-word article. Published overnight in America. Meghan on the cover there of the cuts. And one of the biggest things she's talking about in this article is Harry's relationship with his father. And also there are, I guess, Meg's it in a way now, this is what she said that Harry told her. I lost my dad in the process. She's referring to the tabloid and the coverage of the whole breakaway. And Meghan told Harry doesn't have to be the same for them as it was for her. So basically she's saying that the tabloids had a big role in breaking apart her own family and also Harry's relationship with his family. Now she was asked by the journalist if there's any room for forgiveness here, and Meghan says that she's really made an active effort to forgive not only her own family, but also the royal family. And she says that, it takes a lot more energy not to forgive. On their decision to step back, Meghan says that just by existing they were upsetting the dynamic of the hierarchy of the monarchy. And they said, look, let's get out of here. And ultimately in the end, they were happy to go. Look, it's quite an interesting article. This here is when she's saying when you married into this family, we were okay. So this part is getting. Yeah. So this has just come up. I have to explain this here. Meghan's referring to 2019. She and Harry were at the Lion King premiere and she just had baby Archie. She was very upset. She said that she found it really hard to go out. She was very scared to go out. A South African. Member of the cast came up to her and compared her marriage to the freedom of Nelson Mandela. He says, "When you married into this family, we rejoiced in the streets, the same we did when Mandela was freed from prison." Now this quote by Meghan is getting a lot of attention, and the journalist says that Meghan, by comparing herself to Mandela, a symbol that is all good and charitable, how can anybody hate her? But look, that's what we're all talking about today. She made the decision to share it. That's interesting that I'm not surprised a lot of people talking about that. Yeah, I'm in another extraordinary claim. She really took aim at the British press for treating her kids differently to the Cambridge children. So Meghan was very against having to share photos of her kids to the British press. They then released these photos to all of us. She also didn't like having to share photos on the royal family social media accounts before she was able to share them with her own friends and family. And she says that she'd been treated very bad. But I think the press were out to get the no matter what their strict rules that they also don't need to have this. Yeah. I think it's hate on both ends. And there is no love lost. No, not from Meghan here. Absolutely not. Interesting that. Look, the Duchess certainly has found her voice after what she says she had felt she was silenced since marrying into the royal family. She sat down for this US magazine called The Cut, and certainly these revelations would be cutting to some of the members of the royal family. Indeed, she goes into further detail about having the lack of support not just for her, but also for Prince Harry when they decided to leave the royal family, also to leave Britain, which they described as a joyful moment. She also took the chance though to highlight people who did support her. Strangers. One anecdote she revealed to the magazine was a crew member of The Lion King. She went to the premiere of that, and this was what he said to her. "I just need you to know, when you married into this family, we rejoiced in the streets, the same we did when Mandela was freed from prison." So she took that chance to highlight that moment, but also she revealed more details or personal conversations, I should say, between Prince Harry and Meghan, obviously highlighting the rift between the couple and the royal family, particularly with Prince Harry and Prince Charles. Her quote was, "Harry said to me, 'I lost my dad in this process. It doesn't have to be the same for them as it was for me, but that's his decision.'" That was Meghan reiterating that to the journalist who wrote this article. So obviously there was a correlation there. Twain. Her sad relationship with her own father, Thomas Markle. But I highly doubt these revelations coming out today would really sit comfortably with any members of the royal family here in the UK.